Hi, my name is Tony Carpino. I live here in Gainesville, Virginia, and I'm actually a neighbor of the Hakimi family that owns Falkland Farm. Falkland Farm's a pretty interesting property, and there's actually two stories here. One story is the actual land, the property itself, and there's another unique story about the manor house here. So I guess the land was here first, if we start with the land. The land was part of a land grant to a fellow by the name of Robert Carter. He was also known as Robert King Carter. It was about 12,000 acres, one of the larger land grants here in Virginia. The Carter family is very well known in Virginia. They helped establish the town of Buckland and the town of Haymarket, and they had a long family. This particular property, Falkland Farms, and I researched it a little bit, and nobody knows where the name Falkland came from. So it's kind of interesting. It's, people say, oh, Falkland Farm, where did that come from? Falkland Islands, we have no idea. But the property itself was handed down to several of the family members, and it ended up, this particular property was part of a bigger piece called Cloverland, which still exists. And they have a manor house there too, like this one, only pretty dilapidated. This is kind of unique. It's one of the few remaining manor houses that the Carter family owned here in Prince William County. And we're very, very fortunate as a neighbor that the Hakimi family bought this property and decided to restore the manor house as opposed to develop the property or do something else with it. They took the house and kind of did their best to preserve the architecture while making the interior modern and kept a really good look. I think that was a good thing for the neighborhood and particularly for the county to preserve this historic manor house, which is, like I said, one of the few remaining intact manor houses. It's a Federalist style. It was built in 1844. I believe that the person who built it was John Hill Carter, one of the grandsons or great-grandsons. It's hard to keep track, of everybody. In 1844, there is a stone, a cornerstone, someplace on here under, I think it's the northeast gable, with the date 1844 on it. It's a Federalist architecture for the house. The stone that the house was built out of, actually, from what we've been told, came from a quarry on the property. If you look at the house itself, interestingly enough, on the paperwork, it starts out 3 feet wide on the bottom of stone, and then it works its way up to 1.5 feet, if you can just imagine that. That's how they built things back then. As I said, it's a Federalist architecture. It's got 3 basic chimneys, 3 fireplaces. The inside of the house is what you would expect from that era. It was built with people that had cabinet maker skills. So the original work must have been pretty dramatic and pretty impressive. If you look at the inside of the house, even today, you see the high ceilings, and it's pretty grand place. And as I said earlier, very fortunate that the house was restored. Over the years, the house was owned by the Carter family. In the 1950s, it was actually operated as a dairy. If you look at the historical documents, they shipped milk to DC. It was owned by the Seventh-day Adventists. After that, they used it as an orphanage and raised kids here. Then it was bought by a developer and carved off several pieces of the property to single-family homes, but this piece was preserved. And as I said earlier, fortunately, the Hakimi family ended up buying it, preserving it. And if you look at the grounds today, you'll see it's got an 1.5 acre garden of large boxwoods. Some of the boxwoods are over 100 years old, terraces and everything. Looks really, really impressive. And I know that they're gonna give you a video of the outside of the property. It really is a one-of-a-kind piece of property. The view from the back overlooking the pond, the fields. You were in the foothills of Bull Run Mountain. As I said earlier, the history on the property is kind of unique. If you remember where I said earlier about when it was built, this property was here when the Civil War was being fought. We're about 9 miles as the crow flies to the Manassas Battlefield Park where the Battle of Bull Run was fought. There are several, battles that were fought in the area. I suspect that Union troops and the Confederacy troops, camped on the property. I was told, I don't know if this is true, that during some of the battles, the farmhouse here the manor house was used as a hospital. For which side, I'm not really sure. And like I said, that's an anecdotal story. I I didn't find anything documented on that, but you talk to the local history buffs and you'll hear that story. And there's another interesting little piece. Every family, I guess, has a black sheep. Well, the Carter family had an individual by the name of Nick Carter, who was, I guess the word they used in some of the write-ups I saw, as a villainous and murderous, the villainous and murderous Nick Carter. He rode with Mosby's Rangers. He was convicted of a high crime. He fled to Texas, so that's the black sheep of the family. So today what you have here is really a piece of history, and a piece of history that's been restored. Like I said, the stonework is kind of unique. It's not that red stone that you see in a lot of the houses here, but it's a very pretty stone quarry somewhere on the property, where I don't know. Over 100 years, 150 years of more of history in this particular house, several hundred years of history in the property. So it's really a unique, one-of-a-kind property, and I feel very thankful that the Hakimi family bought it and decided to restore it, as opposed to someone who would buy it and then develop it and lose that piece of history and lose this pretty piece of property. And so I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. I'm sure that you'll be impressed with the property. They did a wonderful job restoring it. It was meticulous, took an inordinate amount of time, and the contractor and his craftsmen who restored the property did an excellent job.
My name is Tom. This is my wife, Marie.
Hi.
We are the owners of Falkland Farm Estates. We bought this property in July of 2018, and when we came out and looked at the property, we immediately fell in love with it because it had such a historic charm. That dated back to the Civil War. We fell in love that it was actually built in 1844. It had great structure, and
Great charm.
Great charm. And so we knew that we had to have it, but we knew that at the same time, the house was really dated and tired, and it had been left uncared for. So going in, we knew that if we were going to buy this property, we really needed to have the right contractor.
A lot of work needed to be done.
Yeah, that could bring it kind of back to life and share our vision to restore her to her former beauty, but at the same time keep the original structure. We looked around. We interviewed quite a few general contractors, and in the end we chose Bera Construction. And the reason why we chose Bera is when we met them, we wanted a company that knew the type of work we wanted. This was going to be all custom. It needed to have it was going to be a big renovation project, and we wanted a company that we could trust, that had done this kind of work before, that understood the sensitivity and delicacy.
Also cared about, the details and the work that needed to be done in the house.
Yeah. And so we chose Bera, and we met with Matt and his team. And so we started the project shortly after. It was a big project. We pretty much renovated everything from the electrical to the plumbing to the roofing to the insulation to windows, the drains. I mean, it was a huge project, and it was obviously bigger than even we thought when we took it on. But the great thing is, with Bera Construction, with Matt and his team, they understood what we wanted. They shared our vision and the scope and the amount of detailing and custom work, and they were great. They were with us from beginning to the end. And in the end, the product kind of speaks for itself. I mean, if the house came out exactly
the way we wanted.
it. And it's just, we're happy to be here. Bera was a great company. In fact, I hope to continue working with Matt and his team on other projects in the future. So we knew that when we bought the house, it was really outdated, really aged, and it was going to be a big undertaking. For example, the kitchen was in the basement.
Yeah, the main entrance was from the basement, this leaded to the kitchen, located in the basement.
Yeah, it wasn't really functional, so we knew that we had to change the kitchen from the basement to the main floor.
Yeah, we switched different
And in
rooms.
order to do that, we had to basically change
The whole layout.
The whole layout and the
basically.
structure.
So we moved the kitchen from the basement to the main level, and then we actually created a main entrance in the front of the house.
In the front of the house, that's right.
The doors were not functional back then, so we made them, and we made a nice entrance porch outside.
A drive-in entryway.
Yeah, created an entryway there, and new room to the house, extension.
New addition,
next
yeah.
to the kitchen. We made a sunroom and also a screen room in the basement.
As far as the kitchen, we knew that we had to get it right. As far as the amount of detailing and the finishing and the quality.
Yeah, we went all in the kitchen, quality, style.
So that's where we really had to trust that our contractor Bera would do the quality of finishing and installation.
Since we didn't have time to really oversee the project at all time, we needed to trust him to really take care of everything and handle everything the way we wanted, and that was done perfectly.
And for the master, when we bought the property, it had this weird, funky spiral going up to the third floor.
Which was a closet, kind of.
Yeah, and we ended up having Bera take that down and making a playroom for our kids on the third floor, which came out really nice with the full bathroom.
Yeah.
What else did we change? We changed also the stairs. There were some weird stairs going upstairs on the other side of the house.
Oh yeah,
from the kitchen.
we took that down, closed the ceiling, and just made a full bedroom up there.
Upstairs, yeah, on the third floor.
And we kept all the fireplaces, the originals, but we made them very nice and functional.
Updated.
Yeah.
Yeah, alive again. The kitchen we turned into my office, which came out really nice.
Yeah. We added a lot of floor-to-ceiling windows in the basement to bring more lights.
And then the backyard was a disaster. It was really dated. There was weeds growing everywhere.
Not maintained at all.
It hadn't been maintained in years, so we ended up pretty much redoing the entire back landscaping. And although that was not something Bera specialized in, we put our trust and faith into them, and they completely shocked us with surprise. I mean, it came out beautiful. Everything from the limestone that we chose to the quality and the leveling, the finishing of the detail of the screen room, it came out really nice.
Yeah.
And so we're happy. We're happy to be here. So as far as materials, we were really meticulous on the selection of the materials. For example, the fireplaces, we had them imported from France. They're solid marble and they were custom pieces. Our flooring selection, we ended up choosing
White oak.
White oak.
From
which
Europe.
was from Europe. We had that also imported. Doors, people don't usually pay attention, but for us, the quality of all the bedroom doors and interior and exterior doors were important. All those are custom, solid wood.
Yeah. The kitchen, did you mention the kitchen?
The kitchen was all custom as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's also, was that imported?
No, custom made.
It was all custom.
We kept the original structure of the windows of the house that give a charm to the house, but we got new windows, but still kept the original style.
Yeah, all natural wood, which is rare these days. For example, the millwork, we wanted it to be perfect. So with Bera Construction, they knew that we were going to be really, really picky and meticulous, and we wanted it to be perfect. And on the millwork, when it came to everything from the doors and installs, closets, it came out fantastic. So we're really happy with that.
Oh, and the limestone also in the basement was also imported.
Indiana
from
buff,
France,
which
from
cost
the outside.
a lot of money, but it was worth it. It was worth it.
Nice touch.
So in the end, with Bera Construction, we were happy. We chose them. I mean, we had many options, but we really were happy we chose them because since we were living out of town during the construction, they really did a good job on managing the property, keeping us updated from week to week.
beginning to the end.
beginning to the end, and really taking the project on and really handling it really well.
Yeah.
And
I would definitely recommend them to our friends, our neighbors, you know,
and hope to
and trust them.
and hopefully we'll work with them again in the future on the next project.